Welcome to the discussion video for Pathfinder 2. This is going to be discussion video 2.5 because
well, what happened? We had some requests on sorcerer, so we decided to do a sorcerer, and of course because we do it in secret. When we came back, it was...
We ended up building the same exact thing with a couple of minor changes, but it would have been a super boring video. We both made the Hag Sorcerer with the Fortune Teller base because we basically decided, we both looked and said we want to make a Warlock from 5th edition, and then said it doesn't work as well as we'd like, so we both decided to make a Witch. He went with the traditional style Witch, I went with a Pathfinder 1 style Witch, so there's like 3 changes, but other than that, we were basically making the same character.
It would have been boring. Video, you might as well just do, I made a witch today.
And so did I. So we just decided that would be number 2, but we have now said specifically that we talk about one thing that we are going to choose, making it so we choose something different. Exactly. So when we talk about the champion, which is what we're going to do now, we made the decision that basically he said which one of the 3 versions he was going to go with, and then I was going to go with one of the others.
Yes.
So he made
a paladin
champion, and I made a redeemer paladin.
Yes. So the difference is in the alignment. A paladin is lawful good, and a redeemer is
neutral good. There's also the third one. I don't remember what it's called.
Liberator.
The Liberator, which is chaotic good.
Yes.
But all of them are good. They all still have several of the same options available, but we'll get into that in a minute. The first thing we need to do is we need to talk about our Ancestry. Now here, again, we did not discuss it beforehand, and we both went with Half-Orc. We built different versions of Half-Orc, though. So what did you take as your first Ancestry feat?
So as my first Ancestry feat, I took Orc Ferocity.
Orc Ferocity, fun one. It basically means that you're not gonna, if you fall to 0 hit points, you don't go down.
Exactly.
I like it. It's a really good one, but I went with Orc Sight because Orc Sight you can't take except at level 1. Yeah. So even if I wanted to take Orc Ferocity, I could have taken it later.
Yes.
But I didn't. What did you take at 5?
At 5, I took Vigorous Vigor.
Vigorous Vigor. You can't take that at 5.
Oh, sorry.
Ninth level ability.
My Persuasive Superstition. Which one was 5th?
Persuasive. You can. Oh no, sorry. No, Vigor is 5. Superstition is 9. But you can't take 9 Superstition without first taking Superstition, which you didn't take.
Oh, but there's no other 9 then.
Yes, you have to take. You could take 9 or something.
So for 5th, I took Vigorous, and then
for 9, you have to change it.
Orc Superstition.
Okay, so for 5, I took Monstrous Peacemaker because that's based on what my character's build is. I'm trying to play a Redeemer. I'm trying to redeem monstrous creatures. If I could have made this a full orc instead of a half orc, I would have. Because my goal was to basically play like that. I'm the good guy monster that wants to save all of the other monsters.
Yeah.
At 9, he took that. At 9, I took Victorious Vigor, which is the reason why I said he couldn't take it until 9, because I misspoke. So that is what happens there. Victorious Vigor means that if you happen to defeat someone, bring someone down to 0, you get temporary hit points equal to your Constitution modifier.
Yes.
Until the end of your next turn. And obviously our Constitution modifiers are probably pretty solid.
Yes, they are.
So, the next thing we want to say is what is the background you chose?
So, I went with the Warrior Orc.
The Warrior Orc. You are as standard of an orc as you can get.
Yes.
I went a little differently for role-playing purposes. I chose a prisoner.
That is very good.
I wanted to go with an idea that said that I was wrongfully accused of a crime because I'm a good orc. And therefore, I'm trying to make sure other monstrous creatures can have the opportunity to be redeemed as well.
Yes.
So after that, we can talk about skills and things, but that doesn't really make that big of a difference. Yeah. So the next thing that we need to go over really is our other first level character option choices.
Right. So which stats did you increase?
Right. So at first level. My character's stat line is 18 strength, 12 dex, 14 con, 10 wisdom, 10 intelligence and 14 charisma.
Exactly like mine.
Well, at 15, what are yours?
Yeah, at 5th.
At 5th, yeah, 5th.
At 5th, I have 19 for strength.
Yeah.
14 for dex. 16 for con.
Okay.
10 for intelligence. 12 for wisdom. 14 for charisma.
I have a 16 charisma and a 14 con.
Ah, okay.
And your 10th level?
My 10th level now, strength is 20.
Yeah.
16 dex. 18 con. 14 wisdom.
Yeah.
14 charisma.
And okay. So I kept going up with the charisma because my entire concept is based on talking.
Yes.
So I kept going up with the charisma, and I did not raise my dex further because my armor is going to make it so the dex point is moot.
Right.
So I kept the dex at 14, so I have a 20, 14, 16, 10, 14 wisdom because I wanted to keep raising my wisdom, and an 18 charisma because...
Yes.
And also, the 18 charisma makes another big difference because of the way that I built my character earlier.
Right. And the reason I went for dex is for that unarmored effects that for role-playing later on that I might need the dex in certain skills, and you'll see that in the build.
Okay. So, yeah, and obviously for certain skills and skill feats that I took, which we're not going to really talk about, I went with the charisma because also... when I get to one of my specific builds that I did in my build, having charisma is important because that's how your spellcasting abilities modifiers work. It's based on your charisma because you're a paladin.
Right.
At least I'd like to hope, though. So what were other first level abilities did you choose to take?
So, well, I guess we have to go to the champion.
Yeah, we got to go to the champion. So we know that he chose Paladin, I chose Redeemer. That means that he has Retributive Strike and I have Glimpse of Redemption automatically as our champion reaction triggers.
Yep.
So what does that mean for you?
So Retribution Strikes means I get to add... sorry, I just have to open it up to the page.
Yep.
I get to add ally resist. You protect your allies and strike your foe. The ally gains resistance to all damage against the trigger damage equals to 2 plus your level. If the foe is within reach, make a melee strike against it.
Yeah, and what mine does for Glimpse of Redemption is an enemy damages your ally and you both are within 15 feet of you. Your foe hesitates under the weight of the sin of visions of redemption play in their mind's eye. The foe must choose one of the following options. The ally is unharmed as they don't against that triggering attack, so they don't do damage. The ally gains resistance to all damage equal to the damages... they gain resistance to the damage equal to 2 plus my level. Or... and also that means that after that's applied, the enemy becomes enfeebled 2 until the end of the next round. So when they strike my friend, not only does my friend take less damage, but they now have lower chances to hit and damage for the next round afterwards. So that's what Glimpse of Redemption does. So one other thing we have to choose with this is we chose our champion's code. We also have to choose our deity.
Yes.
So a deity you needed to choose, and that's going to give you, I think, one of your skills is really the only thing it does, unless you go with a specific build.
Well, I also went with the deity domain.
So did I.
I chose the one with the healing domain.
Well, which god did you choose? Because several of them have the healing domain.
Yeah,
I believe it's page 440.
Yeah, 440. So I went with...
because there are several.
I went with Chalet.
Shelyn, or Shelyn.
Yeah, sorry, and I took the protective domain, not the healing.
You took the protective domain. I like that.
Yes.
So what the protective domain does is it gets you what? Well, it gets you Protector's Sacrifice as a domain spell, and it gets you Protector's Sphere as an advanced domain spell if you took those abilities. I don't know if you did or not. We'll get to that in a minute. I went with Sarenrae. Because the Edicts of Sarenrae include providing aid to the sick and wounded and seek and allowing redemption. Again, sticking with my whole character concept. And I went instead of with the healing domain, I went with the sun. I think it's the sun bit with that. So I am the sun domain, which is getting me the option to have dazzling flash and positive luminescence. Positive luminescence does some heals, and dazzling flash basically makes people blinded and confused and makes it so that they don't do as much damage.
Right. And
so it sticks with my don't kill people, let's go ahead and talk it out.
Right. So then we go to your second level choice.
Well, before that we have to choose, say, the champion feats, and obviously we just said our first level champion feat was our Deity's Domain, which gets us our option to take our first level domain ability. You get the one that you said, which...
The protection, which...
do you remember what it does?
Well, protector sacrifice.
Yes.
So I believe it lets...
it's in end of the spells section.
Yeah, I believe it lets me...
End of the spells section.
Yeah, I believe it lets me... Sorry, I believe it lets me sacrifice... jump in the way.
Oh, so you can take some damage to protect people.
Yes.
Which makes a lot of sense considering you're playing a paladin. Again, mine basically dazzles. It kind of blinds the foe and makes it so that they aren't as effective in combat for a short period of time.
Right.
Which I think was a good idea because that's part of my character's goal. So that's our first level of choice. Our second level choice basically is just telling us what our second level champion feat is. So what did you choose for your second level champion feat?
I went the way of the Dragon Slayer.
So you chose Dragon Slayer Oath.
Yes.
So Dragon Slayer Oath basically makes it so that you can do additional damage to evil dragons, or you can gain bonuses based on what you have to evil dragons. Is there any other effect?
Yes, so my redemption resistance against damage from an evil dragon is 7 plus my level. So that really helps if with the protective domain I can jump in the way of the fire breath and save those low hit point wizards.
Seems like a fair plan. So what I went with instead was the Shining Oath. The Shining Oath is specifically going against undead. Because guess what? You can redeem pretty much everybody. You can't really redeem the undead. The undead just gotta go away. They gotta die.
I don't know. It's difficult to redeem a dragon.
It's difficult, but, I mean, not all dragons are even evil.
That's true.
And you can always talk with a dragon. When you talk with an undead, you say, turn to the good side. They go, You see what I mean?
Yes.
So I went with the Shining Oath for that specific purpose.
Right.
So for me, what it does is my Glimpse of Redemption's resistance against damage from undead, instead of being 2 plus level, becomes 7 plus level. So it's basically damage resistance from undead attacking my enemies. I can make it so that a lot of the undead aren't going to hurt them at all.
Right.
Which is, I think, a really, really cool ability. So that leads us next to level 3, which is another major choice point for the champion, because you have to choose your divine ally.
Well, let's do the general feat, because that still adds.
Sure, general feat.
So I took toughness just to add those extra hit points, especially if you're facing dragons.
Right, because apparently you have decided that you are going to be the specifically dragon-slaying paladin.
Yes.
I went with Untrained Improviser. The reason for this is because I have 4 skills. I want not to suck at all skills, so I took Untrained Improviser so that I'm not terrible. What this does is, at before level 6, it makes it so you can add half your level to your skills instead of nothing.
Right.
Plus your stat, and once you get to 6th level, it means you can add your level instead of half your level. So the big difference between trained and untrained is only 2.
Right.
As opposed to at level 6, or like at level 10 right now, if I do a skill that I'm untrained in and you do a skill you're untrained in, you will have a +2 if it's a wisdom skill, and I will have a +13 if it's a wisdom skill.
Yes.
That's a pretty distinct difference.
Yes.
Or +12 as opposed to a +2.
Right.
Either way, big difference. So that's what I took at level 3.
Okay. So then let's go back to the 3rd level
So we
ally
have to choose our divine ally. There are 3 choices. You can take a divine pet, a divine mount.
Yes.
You can take a divine weapon, which increases, like, makes it so you can do fun things with your weapon.
Yes.
Or you can take a divine shield.
I went with divine. I need something to hit those dragons, and Blade Ally seems like the way to do it.
So what Blade Ally does is, if you're following your tenets of good, you can choose Disrupting, Ghost Touch, Returning, or Shifting. And you also automatically gain the weapon's critical specialization effect. So if you crit, you can do some extra fun things.
Right.
What I did was I chose Shield Ally because apparently, I mean, if you hadn't noticed, I'm trying to stop people from getting hit. So I can be even more specific about making people not get hit if I buff my shield even further.
Right.
So what Shield Ally does is in my hands, my shield hardness is increased by 2, hit points and the total points for it before it's destroyed increase by half. So once you have magical shields, it makes it so my shield is buff.
Right.
So that's what we took at 3. At 4, what did you choose to take?
Well, that dragon fear is horrendous, so I took Aura of Courage.
Well, I personally think that any fear is bad, so I also took Aura of Courage. So what Aura of Courage does is whenever you become frightened, reduce the condition value by 1 to a minimum of 0. At the end of your turn, when you would reduce your frightened condition value by 1, you also reduce the value by 1 for all allies within 15 feet. So if people are feared, fear goes away. Because, you know, I can think of 2 things that a lot of the time cause fear. Dragons and undead. So it makes sense that we both went with that feat.
Yes, definitely.
How about 6?
So I am facing evil dragons. So Smite Evil sounded like the way to go, especially if you take Divine Blade.
So you have to take Divine Blade in order to take Smite Evil, so he continued up the Divine Blade tree.
Yes.
Well, he continued up the Divine Blade tree. You can probably guess that I continued up the Divine Shield tree. So I took Shield Warden. What Shield Warden does is when you have your shield raised, you can use your shield block reaction when the attack is made against an ally adjacent as well as for you adjacent to you. So if you do prevent the ally damage instead of preventing you from taking damage following the normal rules of shield block. So if I've got an ally next to me, I can shield block for them and reduce the damage they take, which might be more than the damage they would take from me using my Glimpse of Redemption power.
Yes.
So that brings us after that to level 7 for our next skill, our next general feat.
Right. I took Die Hard.
It stays with his theme. I took skill training because I wanted to have more skills.
Yes. So that makes
which also stays with my build.
Totally makes sense.
Moving on to level 8, what did you choose?
So level 8 was a little surprise, and I was, when you reach that level, you're hoping that through some role play and convincing the GM, he could give you a mount that might be able to fly, since you are a dragon slayer.
Level 8's a little low for that.
But eventually, hopefully.
Sure, so what did you take?
So I took a second ally, and I went with Steed.
Okay, so he took a second divine ally so that he can now have his divine steed as well.
Yes.
That seems like a pretty reasonable plan. What I went with at level 8 was the Advanced Deities domain, which makes it so that gets me up to my full 3 points for that type of spell, for the full 3 points available for using those types of spells. Forgetting what they're called right now. But it makes it also so that ability becomes very powerful, because I believe that ability is actually super fun. I'm going to tell you what it does, because it's a very cool ability. So I just have to get to it. Here it is. Litanies. Sacrifice, why? Alright, so your... Where is it? Champions... Oh, right, it's not listed under champion, it's listed under cleric.
Yes.
That's my mistake. So positive luminescence. So you drawing the life force into yourself, you become a beacon of positive energy. You glow with bright light and a 10-foot emanation. You gain an internal pool of light called a luminescence reservoir, which starts at a value of 4. At the start of each of your turns, you can use a free action to increase the luminescence reservoir by 4, and if you do, the radius of your light increases by 10.
Yes.
So I basically will become sunlight. If an undead creature damages you, so sticking with the undead theme, with an attack or spell while it's within the area of light, that creature takes positive damage equal to half your luminescence reservoir. It takes this damage only the first time it damages you in a round. You can dismiss the spell. When you do, you can target a creature within your light and direct the positive energy into it. The target must be a willing, living creature or undead creature. They heal or take damage equal to the value of the reservoir. So I activate it for one action,
right?
Because it's only a one-action ability,
yeah.
And then I just let it go for the duration of the combat, and then eventually heal someone for a bunch or damage an undead creature for a bunch.
Which still goes with your undead.
So it continues in theme of being able to, and it makes it so that I can heal an ally from pretty far away if things work out. I thought it was super cool.
Yes.
So that one's another distinct difference between our builds. Finally, our level 10.
At level 10, I went with continuing my ally, Radiant Blade Spirit.
So what does Radiant Blade Spirit do exactly?
So Radiant Blade Spirit actually allows you to add extra properties to your weapon. You can give it alignment, or you can give it holy flaming as well. And surprisingly, under champions who are all good, they list holy or unholy, but it is what it is.
Well, if you need to do unholy damage against your good dragons? Question mark?
I guess.
I don't know, but maybe there's a reason. Maybe a good guy went bad. You have to kill a fallen angel or something. I don't know. No. Either way, I also stuck with my same build and went with Shield of Reckoning, which requires the champion's reaction, Divine Ally Shield, Tenets of Good, and Shield Warden, all of which I have. A foe's attack against an ally matches the trigger for both your shield block reaction and your champion's reaction. When you shield your ally against an attack, you can call upon your power to protect your ally further. You use the shield block reaction to prevent damage to an ally, and also the champion's reaction against that foe. So, if an undead creature was attacking me at attacking an ally standing next to me at level 10, not only can I say, take 17 less damage take 17 less damage or take no damage, depending on the ability that they choose, but also I can put up my shield and block for a crap load of damage too. So I can block like 30 points of damage if I've done everything correctly with magic items from a single attack using just my reaction. And I think that's cool.
Yes.
So, those are our two builds. Obviously, we have a couple of other things we would bring in, which would be skills and skill feats. Like Battle Medic is always a good skill feat. We're both paladins. I'm going to bet we probably both have it. And things like that.
I went with the ride because I'm planning to get the thing. But you know what I'm interested to see? What is the CR of like a Pegasus or a Griffin? Because I think at 8th level, a Pegasus might be a reasonable mount to ask your GM.
I mean, the CR doesn't mean that it's fair to have that be your mount.
Well,
but at the same time,
compared to a companion.
Well, remember, it is going to be your companion because when you take Divine Ally, it becomes a small companion. It becomes the lesser companion. He just gets it as a mount. But I do happen to have the Monster Manual next to me, so I'm going to look to see what level a Pegasus would be. A Pegasus is a CR3, so that's pretty low level. But at the same time, it's also still a lot more powerful than a level 1, than the basic version of the mount, even at your level.
Maybe you would have to wait till 12th level to ask.
Because you might need to take the feat that increases your...
yes.
So remember, you always have the ability to lower your feat levels, and one of the other abilities, like when he went with Smite Evil and I went with the Shield, I believe Loyal Warhorse is also a feat available level 6, which makes it so you can get a higher level mount.
Yes.
And I think at level 10 or 12, you can make the even higher level mount, which is probably where you would get a Pegasus or something like that.
Right.
I have a game where I have a Hippogriff mount, but it's because I asked for it from the Queen of the Fae and said, can you give me a mount that would be cool? And she said, sure.
Yep.
So I don't have any feats for it. He's just ridiculously strong and awesome.
Yep. So that's the build. Please make comments if you want us to try something else. If you say sorcerer again, we'll promise not to do a hag.
Yes, we will. We will promise to look at to say which ones of the different tasking types. So we'll definitely do something different.
Yes.
The other thing, of course, is like and subscribe. If you comment, if you like either of our builds, if you don't like either of our builds, let us know. And what did you think of my build? What did I think of yours? I like your build. It's a very straightforward, but it's effective. I like the concept. You're going with toughness and going against the general tenets of a high-reaching paladin.
Yes.
You want to kill that dragon.
Yes. And I think undead is used a lot with most of our GMs, and having an undead slayer within the party always helps.
Yeah, and I like the role-playing aspect of being able to try to redeem non-undead creatures.
Right.
And I like the idea that you've said you want to go into both of those. And I also like your Protector build, because the Protector is another ability that you can use along with Lay on Hands with your points.
Right.
So I think both builds are very effective. They're different, and that's the point of Pathfinder 2. You can make many different builds with every character class that are just as effective as everything else. Anyway.
Thank you, and goodbye.